Let's talk a little more about the Laravel blade templating engine. Okay, so far we have two views. If you go to your resources views folder, we have the welcome.blade.php, then we also have the index.blade.php and show.blade.php. If you visit the index.blade.php, you'll see that we have the same structure as the show.blade.php. So if you check out the head, you see that we have a title and then we have the same bootstrap file linked right here. Same thing in the index.blade.php. So with the blade templating engine, we can go ahead and create what we call a layouts file that is going to help us refactor some of these duplicated code into a single file. Let me show you what I mean. In the views, I'm going to create a folder called layouts, and here I'm going to create a file called app.blade.php. Now, everything that is duplicated within these two files, I'm going to move into the app.blade.php. For example, this is duplicated, so I'm going to paste it right here. And if we come back here, you can see that this is also duplicated. So I'm going to copy it and paste in the layout file. So the layout file is going to help as a common file for all of the views that look the same. Now, I'm going to add a body. And I'm also going to add a container div because both files have a container div, if you can see right there. Okay, so here I'm going to add a directive called yield, and this is going to be content. So this is defining a section, and I'm going to show you how we use this section. I'll come to the index.blade.php, and I'm going to cut all of this, delete everything in here, and I'm going to create a section called content and section, and I'll paste the contents of that page in here. But first, I need to tell this file to extend the layout we created. So we're going to say add extends, and I'm going to say the name of the layout is layouts.app. And if we come back to the index.blade.php, refresh, you can see we have exactly the same thing. Now, what happens is Laravel picks up this contents section, and then it comes to the layouts file where we yield the content section. It's going to inject it right here, which means that right now in our view, we only have to write what is not duplicated and what is unique to this view. The layouts file keeps all the common functionality. Let's do the same thing with the show.blade.php. In the show.blade.php, we're going to cut out everything we have in the container, delete all of this, extend the layout, so extends layouts.app, and then define a section called content, because in our layout, it yields a section called content. So we say whatever is defined in this content section should be injected right here in the layout. So we end that section. And finally, paste the contents that we copied right there. So if we come now and take a look at the single view, you see it's exactly the same. Now, how useful is this? Let's take an example. We're just going to go to getbootstrap.com and we're going to copy a navigation bar. So I'm just going to go to get started, and here in the search, I'm just going to search for nav bar right here, and I'm just going to copy an example nav bar. So maybe this one right here. So I'll copy that code and I'll go to my app.blade.php, and right before the container, I'm going to paste that code. If I come back to the application, if I refresh this page, you can see we have the nav bar right here. And if I go back to the to-dos page, you can see we have the nav bar right here. But if we did not have layouts, we would have to copy this nav bar and paste it in this view, and also paste it in this view, which would be a lot of code duplication. Okay, so the layouts file really helps us clean up our views by putting functionality that is common to all view files in a file and calling it the layout. Okay, so since we're going to be using this navbar, let me just go ahead and clean up all the things we don't need. For example, we don't need the form. I'm just going to delete that. If I refresh, great, the form is gone. We don't need the disabled link. We don't need the link with drop downs. all we need is simply the link with the home right here. And I'm just going to put this link. And I'm just going to change the title of the app to to-dos. If I refresh, great. So if I view a to-do, I can use the navigation bar to go back to the home page. Okay, so we probably want to add another link for to-dos. So maybe this is going to be to-dos, and this is going to be to-dos app, and this to-dos app goes to the home page as such. All right, to-dos. If you click on to-dos, it takes us to the home page. That should take us to to-dos like this. Okay, so visit to-dos, click on to-dos, it brings us to this page. Visit a single to-do, click on to-dos, it brings us back here. All right, awesome. So that was your basic introduction to layout files. And what did we learn in this lesson? To create a layout file, just create a blade file, just like the ones we have. In this case, I called it app.blade.php. And then at the top of other blade files, you can add extends directive and the name of the layout file you created. This functionality is going to be common functionality amongst views is going to be extracted to your layout. So in the layouts file, you can create a section just like this, add yields content, and then in the file that extends the layout, you can define what should be in that content. Let's take, for example, we want to change the title on all pages. We can come to the title and we can say add yield title, and then we come to each of the pages and we can create a section called title, and I'm just going to end the section right here, and this is simply going to say to-dos list. So if we visit this page and refresh, you can see the title is to-dos list. But if we want the title to be different on the show page, then we're just going to come here and we're going to call this single to-do. And maybe we could actually customize this with the to-do name. So if I come right now and visit a single to-do, you can see the title is exactly what we said it should be. All right, great. Thank you so much and see you in the next lesson.